Welcome to Project Fast Fish here on Mike's Motorworks, and we got a big project that we're going to start on today with Project Fast Fish. You don't want to miss it. It all happens right now. Project Fast Fish. We've been journalizing what's been going on with the project and showing essentially the restomod process of the vehicle itself. While I'm keeping the shell as much OEM as possible, there'll be some other modifications that'll happen in the future, all right? Not necessarily with bodywork, because I'm not ready for that yet. However, we do have some big things that we need to tackle, all right? With most of the front clip being taken care of, and I say the front clip, pretty much everything from the A-pillar down, okay? We are now ready to start looking at the back side of this vehicle. And yeah, almost everything is going to need to be replaced. Let me show you. So every rear quarter panel is going to need to be replaced because quite frankly, there is no salvaging that. The condition is so pitted that you cannot restore it. Additionally, skins aren't going to work here because there's some additional rusting and such on the top, some pitting and what have you. All right, the caps of the quarters are shot, okay? And quite frankly, the only thing that's usable is the stuff from here down for future door alignment, all right? So we're gonna cut that all out here shortly, and along with some other things, right? The rear taillight panel, well, yeah, that is no good as well. Not only is the surface condition of the sheet metal in similar grade, okay, but there's a lot of holes and such as well. Same thing for the trunk rails, okay? Same thing for that sail panel. All will be replaced. Additionally, there is no salvaging this area, the trunk, okay? I have brand new sheet metal from AMD in. That's all going to be replaced. And of course, our rear seat pan, that ain't going to work. So it's all going to be replaced. And we're going to do it the right way. All right. I had someone suggest, well, why don't I just cut off the top of that there and leave the bottom since the rest of it's in good shape? Not going to work. Not going to do it. It's going to be all replaced the right way using the right sheet metal. So we're going to make that happen. Okay. Now, despite all of that, there are some components that are still in great shape. Okay. This package tray, although it looks rough on film right here, is still in overall great shape. All right, so I just need to clean that up, okay? And there's really no rust spots really to worry about outside on the speaker rails itself. No big deal there. That's simple, easy to take care of, all righty? Even these panels right in this area are in great shape. I'm not worried about that, right? And of course, they look great on the other side, all right? The roof will need some love, but that's a story for another day, all right? Now, although these wheel wells look like they're in good shape, okay, we're going to go ahead and replace those completely. It's going to be a lot of work, but we're going to make it happen, all right? Because quite frankly, it needs to be done, all righty? In fact, when you look at the wheel wells up underneath the car itself, let me show you what they look like. This rust area right here, all right, that's the end of the cap for the rocker panel, all right? That obviously needs to be replaced, okay? Now, overall, it looks okay, but I'm going to go ahead and replace it anyways. There is some holes and some rust that are shining through down this area. And since I'm replacing all this anyways, why not put new sheet metal up in there anyways? We don't know where it's thin and what have you. And quite frankly, by the time I start working and getting all of the quarters off and what needs off, I'll probably be better off replacing them anyways. Am I going to tub it? No, I'm not going to tub it, all right? I am going to put some wider wheels down here, and there is a solution that you could do without tubbing the wheels, and I think that would be sufficient, okay? Now, finally, inside the trunk area, the trunk supports are in decent shape. They do need to be cleaned, all right? So I'm going to wire wheel that, get those cleaned, get those primed, all right? Those wheel wells, again, are going to be replaced. And, of course, all the supports inside the trunk area seem to be in great shape. even that back trunk or package tray support in the back there. All right, so those are all salvageable, okay? So, you know, even the underside of the package tray were in great shape. So there are some things that can stay and some things that are quite frankly just going to leave on the project. So today what we're going to work on is we're going to start gutting and yanking the sheet metal out that'll help me create the support parts that I need to keep the package tray and the trunk supported, okay? In other words, what's needed to keep this in the right area, what's needed to keep that package tray in the right area, especially when I pull out the wheel wells. Because as you can see, the wheel wells, let me go over here, the wheel wells are acting as a support for the trunk brace and the package tray brace. So we need to, if I'm going to be yanking those out and replacing them, okay, I need to brace it somewhere else. Well, where am I going to brace it from? Well, there's a couple different points. I could either use the jig, okay, as a support brace, right, and build some stuff up from the jig, or better yet, there is a shock tower that runs, and it's also a cross member, right, that runs from one side to the other. That's where the shocks go, right? So if I can get that out, get that cleaned up where I can weld to it, I can start creating my basic bracing structure from that tower. And then as the pieces get back and installed, okay, then I can take that off, put the metal in, and boom, there it is, right? So that is the big objective of today, is to go ahead and get things braced up for future work. Now to do that, I gotta take some stuff out. So this area has already been cut, and I cut this out a few months ago. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And effectively what we did is we just took our plasma cutter, that's a new gift from Pop, all right? And we went ahead and just simply ran and marked out where we wanted to cut and then cut along what we needed, all right? We cut along the top here to keep enough rigid supporting where we needed right here so nothing moves, right? And again, everything is supported with the package tray support and the trunk support, right? Holding the sail panel in place and all that good stuff, right? You can kind of see the condition of the wheel wells, right? I didn't want to cut too high up into here in this area, so I kind of left this area here. And as I said before, I need to kind of look at this spot here as reference for when I hang my doors and door skins, right? So I went ahead and left this part as it is. And then of course, I'm probably going to cut down a little bit deeper here and then work around the wheel well and then back around again. So why am I doing this, right? Well, the reason is so I can get back into here and start cutting these pieces out that are, you know, inhibiting me from building the support that I need, right? So I'm going to yank out the entire trunk, being careful of the frames and supports inside, right? So this allowed me to get in here with my cutter and start working around as needed, right? Hopefully without hurting myself too bad. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and let's get to cutting. Here is how things kind of turned out. Now I have a lot of extra tools and such in this area, and that's because I was doing some additional work, and I'll show you that in just a second. But as you can see, everything was yanked out. This tunnel is yanked out. Now I didn't do this portion right here for a purpose, okay? And that purpose is one, all right, I still want to leave some sheet metal back here to kind of help with alignment and such, because when these wheel wells come out, I'll need something to align to, right? And, you know, if I did that right now, I would be robbing myself of alignment, right? And then two, okay, the sheet metal in the front can be yanked out at a little bit later point. So what I went ahead and done is, off camera, I went ahead and made our structure here. Now the idea of the structure is just to keep things from moving. These don't need to be the prettiest welds, okay? And they can just simply be tacked on into place to keep things from shifting around. You don't want cold welds, you just want welds, all right? And the idea is to kind of keep things from moving around with triangulation. And I'll show you that triangulation here in just a few minutes, right? But yeah, basically you got a support running up to the package tray on here. That support being braced on the 45 buttress there, the 45 support there. And of course, this bar across the top here goes to this support bracket, which holds the trunk torsion bar, or the trunk bar, which essentially acts like a spring, right? And it helps this sail panel keep in place, right? And I wanted to keep that there because, one, it gave me something to tack into pretty easy, and two, by having this bar across here, I can do some additional bracing should I choose to and need it, right? Will I need it? That's to be seen in the future, okay? So yeah, that's where things kind of ended up at. Now let me show you something up here. Since triangulation is such a huge and important part, we know that we are braced in 3 different key points for triangulation, all right? Key point number 1 being the eye area in the back, right? And you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points in the back, and that triangulates to this area down here. So even if this was out, okay, and such, you'd still be relying on the supporting here, okay? And that should provide enough support to keep things from moving back and forward, right? Now, that bracing should help, being on the package tray, keep things from moving up and down. So again, that triangulation. Now, some people would ask me, Mike, how come you're not running a bar? A lot of guys, when they do these restorations, they run a bar, say from in the back area of the package tray, and run it down to the forward area or what have you. Effectively going from, so like, the middle of the shot there to the middle of the shot there. How come you didn't do that, Mike? Well, one, I got to get in and out of the car, okay? And quite frankly, if I were to do that, it would be too much for me to get in and out of the car with when I'm trying to work on certain areas like this zone in here, okay? And two, it's not needed right now, okay? Now, eventually, I'm going to go ahead and pull this front panel, I'm sorry, not front panel, this under seat pan out, and it's going to cause me to go ahead and yank out the spot welds here, okay? Effectively the spot welds in this area. I'll show you more of this a little bit later on when I do the process. But once I start yanking those welds, that's where that support comes, I'm going to lose, right? But I'll still have to rely on the support back there, all right? So here's the under seat pan, there's the trunk area, so I'll still have some support back here and the support up in this area as well. I'll go ahead and get that placed in, and then I can bring my attention to yanking the rest of the wheel wells out, okay? So once I get this out, I'll be able to bring my attention in and do some additional bracing. But right now, I think I have what I need up there. Again, everything is triangulated. Now, I might run an additional bar or beam, say from this spot in here to somewhere up in this area up here, okay? But I haven't decided that yet. Maybe even back here or what have you, or even as far back as that point right back where my finger is in line with the camera, okay? I might do something like that a little bit later on, but right now, this should help out with supporting. So the next thing that you'll see on Project Fastfish is me tackling that underseat pan. And while I'm tackling that underseat pan, there will be a lot of good information and insight that I'll bring to you, and a lot of references to other videos that I'll bring as well, because I've already filmed some of the stuff that I'm going to show and demonstrate. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the thing in fast motion. Additionally, off camera, I'm going to go ahead and take some time to go ahead and remove some of the things that haven't been removed yet, and to look at some smaller repairs. Example, this guy's got to come out. That's 2 bolts. That's easy. But as you can see, I have some repair work that needs to be done down in this wear area as well. So I'll be able to bring my attention on that, start getting things wire wheel cleaned up, so on and so forth. Additionally, see this spot right in here? All of this can now go, okay? Because this really isn't load bearing. This isn't structure bearing. I got that in space, so I could effectively just cut all this stuff out, okay? Getting ready to put that trunk deck back into space here eventually, all right? And it'll, quite frankly, be easier to work with and such as well. And it'll also start giving me access up here. So I got a lot that can come off. Hopefully a lot of that I can get on film, and a lot of that I can show you either in fast motion or talk about it as I'm journalizing the progress here on Project Fast Fish. So thank you very much for tuning in to Mike's Motorworks and here on Project Fast Fish, and we'll catch you on the next episode.